I've managed to release 3 episodes of the Goalie Growth Project and have yet to formally introduce myself. My name is Teray. How do I even introduce myself? Yeah, so here's the thing. It's a lot easier to do this when I'm actually talking to somebody instead of just myself. This needs to come over here. I guess maybe what I can start off by saying is podcasts are a lot of work. Let's just call it like it is. My name's Teresa Noyes, and when I played hockey, my name was Teresa White. I am from Maine. I live in Ontario, Canada now, and I absolutely, with every fiber of my being, love hockey, and more specifically, I love goalies. I love goalies. I love being a goalie. I miss being a goalie. I love working with goalies, and I started having so many of the same conversations that I'm going to hold a puck. Wow, that really smells like a puck. I was having so many of the same conversations about goalie development, and I just decided to start doing this. And I have no idea where it's going to go. It might go absolutely nowhere. It might go somewhere. Those are kind of the two options, right? But I've had some really important people to me on this podcast, and I think it's time for me to kind of introduce myself and give a little bit of backstory about who those people are, why they were so important to me, why I hope that other goalies will have those people in their life during their developmental years. So, wow, this really smells like rubber. According to my dad, I skated out when I was a mini mite. Around 6, maybe I decided I was going to be a goalie. My dad was a goalie and he was my goalie coach, and we bonded over hockey hard. Hard, hard, hard. I truly don't think it's possible for me to articulate how much of my life was dedicated to this sport. I'm really proud to say that I played with guys up until I left home to go to boarding school. My freshman and sophomore year in high school, wow, this really smells like rubber. My freshman and sophomore year in high school, played for my boys' high school team. It just so happens that I was not the only girl goalie on my boys' high school team. I was a part of a girl goalie duo in Fairfield, Maine. And my goalie partner's name was Allie Woods. And we just had a kick-ass time playing hockey together with the boys. And we were really proud of it. We were in the newspaper once. That was pretty fun. Allie, if you have that article, I would love to see it. I'm sure my dad has it somewhere. When I go home for the holidays, I'll make sure to show you all my dad's garage. It is like a museum of my hockey history. I don't know, man. I just love the sport so damn much, and I love the position so much, and I met so many cool people during my hockey career. When I was in my sophomore year of high school, I was playing in a hockey game, and I don't know. I do vaguely remember seeing this man in the bleachers, and I was working really hard to get recruited to play college hockey. I remember this man asked to talk to me after this game, and he's all decked out in Patagonia. And he asked to talk to me with my parents, and he let me know that he was the coach of a boarding school called Brewster Academy, and it was in Wolfboro, New Hampshire, and he wanted to talk to me about potentially going to school there, moving to New Hampshire and playing for him. At the time, I had never heard of boarding school before. So I was like, oh no, I'm not ready for college yet. I'm in high school. I'm only a sophomore. And he was like, no, this is a college preparatory school. It's a boarding school. We exchanged contact information and I scheduled my visit. My parents drove me 3.5 hours, however long it is, to get there. And I was absolutely blown away by this place. The fact that I had the opportunity that somebody was interested in me, it's something that I had wanted for such a long time. And I met girls on the team, met faculty there, and we decided to move forward with me moving away from home that following year and going to boarding school. It changed the trajectory of my life. And from there, I started playing even more competitively because I was playing with Canadians. I was playing with like the best of the best. Brewster Academy, especially at that time, was a very competitive program. I played against Hillary Knight. For if you don't know Hillary Knight, what are you doing? Hillary Knight, like that was my age group. I mentioned that just to say that the boarding school hockey world, especially for girls at the time that I was there, it was very competitive. When I was going to school at Brewster, I was also recruited to play for the Connecticut Stars, which is a AAA team in New England, and we agreed to do it. So my mom every weekend would drive from Maine to pick me up in Wolfboro, New Hampshire, drive me to Connecticut or Massachusetts, like wherever our game was. My mom would drive me there. I would play my games, and she would drive me back to campus. She would drive back home, go through the week, do it all over again. I don't know how to like properly articulate how much hockey I was playing in my high school years. And this just was, it was this amazing schedule that I had, and I was obsessed with it. I loved it. And I was getting better. I was playing with girls that were going to Harvard. I was playing with girls that were, going to UNH, just all these really great places. And I just continued falling in love I was in awe of my circumstances, really. And I also played softball pretty competitively. And so I ended up deciding to play both sports in college. So I played Division III hockey and softball and absolutely loved it. And during that whole time, like as my dad alluded to in his episode, he's my biggest cheerleader. I learned so much from him. He was so proud to see me, kind of go to boarding school and just grind and try to get better. And he always believed in me, always wanted to make sure I had whatever resources I needed to get better and to do the things I needed to do to make a name for myself in the sport. During the summers, I would be a goalie coach. There are so many different camps that I worked for over the years and absolutely loved that. Met so many awesome people. When I was at Brewster, Fred Quisgard, he was also doing the drive from Maine to New Hampshire to work with me. Always looked forward to seeing him. I know that there were days that I wasn't my best self, but he just was such a great role model for me. He understood me. He got to know what I needed from him to get better, and he would give me analogies that really just made sense to me. And then some interesting things happened with my recruiting process, and maybe I'll get into that at a different point, but just to skip ahead to get to Jackie, some things kind of fell through with some plans that I had for where I was going to go. And initially I had met Jackie McMillan and decided to kind of go a different route. And then that ended up not panning out for reasons that I don't know if I still fully understand, but it is what it is. And, she found out that I was still on the market, and she came to see me at Brewster, got me really excited about playing for her, and got me in contact with the softball coach at New England College. And I decided I was going to go to New England College, and a lot of people thought I was crazy. I ended up finding out that like NEC, some people would say that NEC stood for not even college. So that was fun. But I followed Jackie. I wanted to go there to play for Jackie. And that's what I did. I was just so excited to play for her. And I knew how good of a goalie she was. And she, I don't know, we just had like a really good time. Had a great freshman year at New England College. I think one of the reasons that I loved the position so much too is it's hard talking about some of these things, because some of these things are things that I wouldn't want young goalies to be obsessed with and fixate about. I have learned things about myself since my playing career that make things make a lot of sense to me related to how my brain works. Maybe I will get into that at a different time. But I guess ultimately, I earned some pretty cool awards when I was in boarding school. I earned some pretty cool awards uh, when I was in college. And I don't know, anybody who knew me when I was in high school or in college knew that I was a hockey goalie. You just knew it. It was my whole personality. I think that every single thing I did was for hockey. I worked hard in the classroom for hockey. In high school, I was trying to do well in school so I could get recruited at the best schools. And then the SATs knocked me off my ass. And once I got my SAT scores back, that really changed things for me with what my options were going to be. Again, there's things about the way my brain operates that I know now that makes some of that a little hard to swallow, but it is what it is. So my freshman year, I was named Rookie Goalie of the Year for my conference. And I think a lot of that had to do with, how much Jackie did for me. I worked really hard to earn that. But having a coach that believed in me put me in a better position to earn those types of accolades. And then when Jackie called me and let me know that she wasn't coming back after my freshman year, I was just devastated. I remember the fall of my sophomore year when my new college coach, I met her for the first time. And I remember her saying to me, I don't care what you did last year. She didn't care. It didn't matter that I was the starting goalie. It didn't matter that I was rookie goalie of the year. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And I can respect that. But juxtaposing that with the support that I had gotten my whole freshman year from Jackie, it was like, oh, okay. I couldn't keep riding that positive wave that I had. I had to really holy shit. I felt like I had a super tight leash. And it motivated me because then that year I got goalie of the year for our conference. And then I got it again my junior year. And then my senior year is when my mental health started to really decline. And maybe I'll get into that more at a different time. But for right now, I'll just say as was mentioned in a couple of my prior episodes, I did have a medical redshirt year so just to kind of explain that trajectory though, think about that. So my freshman year, I was rookie goalie of the year for the conference. Sophomore year, I was goalie of the year for the conference. Junior year, goalie of the year for the conference. Senior year, I had a medical redshirt year and my hockey career was going to be over. And it was looking back, all of it was the epitome of crying for help. And I'm so happy that it seems like mental health is more talked about and more understood. From what I can see, it looks like a lot of teams have some level of mental health support or a liaison or systems in place. I did not have that, but for all of that to happen, and then for Jackie what's it called? I forget what it's called now. I signed a waiver so that I could speak to Jackie because even though we were as close as we were, the rules were very strict and you couldn't just talk to a college coach despite what your history is. You can't just be like, hey, Jackie, no, I had to sign a whole waiver. And so I signed the waiver. We were able to start discussing the practicality of me going back and playing for her the following year. And Jackie, I remember we did all the things and I had to have a lot of doctor's appointments. So the fact that I was able to go back and play for Jackie and finish, I had gotten, more mental health support. Granted, I chopped all my hair off, which Holy doodle. I felt like I was able to finish the right way because I was having such a good career at New England College. And once I kind of got out of it, once I got past a lot of, the bigger mental health stuff or was more supported and I was able to realize what I had actually walked away from, I was devastated. Because, when you're in the heat of it, sometimes you're not able to recognize the choices that you're making and the long-term effects that that's going to have and the permanence of it. And to find out that I was going to be able to finish, I feel like that whole last year, I was just counting down how many days I had left as an athlete. And luckily, my next episode is going to be with Mac Mallet because she talks about this, I feel like, a lot more eloquently than I do. And she was able to create an entire company around this whole topic. But just the amount that I struggled with identity loss is just, I just can't even. And so I, like Jackie, when she was explaining how when her coaching career was over, she had to take some time away. I really had to do that too. It was hard for me to even watch hockey, let alone my dad, who, you heard all the stories. My poor dad, that was, the main way that he was able to connect with me. I was so distraught about my career being over that I remember one of my teammates from St. Scholastica, Nina, played in the Olympics for Switzerland. And I remember walking in one day and he was talking about her on TV. And I just snapped at him and I was like, hockey's all you talk to me about. Like, I couldn't cope with not being an athlete anymore. And it took a while to get back to a place. And now I'm in this different chapter of the sport, which is coaching and watching my children play. And now that I'm back in it, I see so many opportunities to develop these goalies, to help develop these children. And there's pieces of my story that I feel really strongly about and like looking for ways to better support younger athletes maybe than what I had. For example, it's really important that we make sure that our kids, our athletes, are also enjoying other things in life because this identity loss can be really, really jarring if you don't have something else that you have interest in. And not every single person experiences this level of identity loss that I experienced. Not every single person is going to struggle with mental health issues like I did. But for those that are prone to it, for those that might, I would rather share my story than keep it to myself and just assume that nobody else might go through something like this. So when I think about the Goalie Growth Project, I am now in a place where I want to give back to the sport that helped shape me and who I am. I'm also just recognizing how many goalies are still just kind of plopped in the net. And I see so much area for improvement in the development of the position. And I don't mean telling parents to go sign their children up for a camp. I don't mean to tell a parent to find a clinic or an outside. It's great to supplement with those things. But I'm trying to just have a place where these conversations, this developmental type stuff can be talked about. And obviously, what I talked about with my dad, what I talked about with Quistguard, what I talked about with Jackie McMillan, those are all very near and dear to my heart. That's just so that I can help lay the premise for why I care about all of this so much. I wanted to show who those players were in my story that helped me fall in love with the sport. Now that I've kind of laid that framework, Now is where the fun part starts. Now this is where we can start having segments where people can send video in and I can watch video and react to it and say what I would have done differently. Or if you are a coach, or if you are a goalie, or if you are a parent of a goalie and they have a question, this is where I can answer those questions. It's also where I can give tips for what your goalies should be doing every single day in practice, with the caveat that you should always remember that there are going to be differences in what I might say compared to another goalie coach. The more people that you can collect things from, the more you're just building your toolbox. The more you are just kind of helping shape what that goalie's unique style is going to be. And so maybe you might take a little bit from me, and then you might take a little bit from this dude on TikTok called Coach Utah. Like, there's all these different places you can learn, and then you can figure out what works well for you. I want to create a place where we can just have these conversations. I'm not the be all end all. I'm just a sounding board. I'm just a place where we can talk about it. Like, there's a lot of weird nuances to the position. How's your skating? If your skating's not great, I might tell you that you should probably sign up for figure skating classes. Goalie partners are tough. It's hard to do goalie partnership well. It's really easy to do it poorly, and that can turn toxic really quickly. Then we can talk about the goalie parent. What is it like to be a goalie parent? What are ways that you can cope? What are things that you should probably not say to your child if you're a goalie parent that doesn't understand the position? Like, there's just all these different things that we can talk about. And one of the ways that I feel like I can still connect with the sport is by doing this. So I just wanted to kind of come on here, give a little bit of a backstory about me, give everyone a better understanding of why I'm so passionate about this. There's just so many little things. For example, I had a conversation with a parent the other day. Their child was playing in the game, but the other goalie took all of the warm-up shots in warm-ups. For some people, they're like, eh. For me, I'm like, okay, we need to have a conversation with those coaches. We need to have a conversation with those goalies so they can understand why we don't do that and get some systems in place. I want this to be a common place where there can be templates for systems that can be put in place for teams that don't have a goalie inclined mind. So I just ranted for a very long time. Let me see what I was actually planning on talking about today. Okay, I need to make sure that I accentuate this. I really got to stop dropping my phone. I think I have rambled long enough. I feel like I missed a lot of my coaching. Okay. Once I got back into coaching, I forgot the coolest part of this whole thing, you guys. You know how I went to Brewster Academy? I was then able to go back, and I was a teacher and a coach at Brewster Academy. And that was pretty darn cool because that place changed my life. Instead of coaching high school, now I'm coaching youth hockey. And that's really where I'm able to see this need for development at this younger level. And I really feel strongly about the fact that goalies are paying the same registration fee that all of the other players are paying, but they're getting the least amount of support. And that was really, really evident to me where my kids are playing. And I'm just really proud of the organization that my kids are a part of for seeing that, and having the ability to work with these goalies has just been really, really rewarding. I just think that we owe it to all goalies, regardless of level, to make sure that they're getting the same amount of coaching, the same caliber of coaching as forwards and defense. So that's how this all started. If you know anybody that's interested in chatting about goaltending with me, please send them my way. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm pretty much an open book, for better or for worse.